Okay. Good day, everybody. My name is Chris Poria. Welcome to EarlyBirds Weekly Explorer webinar. This webinar series is run by EarlyBirds team to promote disruptive leaders, especially innovators, mostly focused on startups and scale-ups who have a minimum viable product or more. Today, our guest is a startup, I would say scale-up actually, from Canberra called FifthDomain. FifthDomain is a specialist cybersecurity education and training technology company tackling the global cybersecurity skill shortage. FifthDomain has used cutting-edge technology and infrastructure to create on-demand learning environments to deliver hands-on education and training content to future and existing cyber operators at a time and place that suits them. FifthDomain's virtual learning platforms are flexible and agile, delivering critical and up-to-date cybersecurity content and practical learning exercises in a safe virtual environment with just a browser. Now, let me introduce you to Matt Wilcox. Matt is the founder and CEO of FifthDomain. Matt have had a lifelong fascination with warfare and the impact it has on people and different civilizations. A master's degree in information security and intelligence. Matt has spent 5 years in cyber operations, a few years in teaching cybersecurity master's degree, has reinforced Matt's view that cyber warfare and the evolution of war is something every person with an access to a device should care about. Today, Matt is going to share FifthDomain's story with us. We are going to hear from him for approximately 20-25 minutes, and then we will open floor for questions. So attendees, please share your questions through the chat box in the meantime, or you can request to speak once we open for questions. Matt, welcome again, and over to you.
Great. Thanks very much, Chris, and thank you to EarlyBirds for letting me be part of this podcast. It's a great experience, and just what EarlyBird is doing for the tech industry in Australia is fantastic. So well done to Chris and Jeff and the whole team. It's great. So yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Wilcox. I'm the CEO and founder of FifthDomain, as Chris said. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my background, where I started, how I got into starting a business, and basically what we've done and where we're going. So I'll share a little bit of my screen with you. There we go. So I started my cyber career back in university. I had a background, an undergraduate degree, an arts degree, basically, and did that, and then really worked out that I didn't have much employable skills. So I went and did a Masters of IT Security and Intelligence at Edith Cowan University. And essentially, I was a person who experience with IT was using browser and video editing software. And so it was a real learning curve for me to be able to learn things like how networking works, packet captures, how operating systems work, different configurations, what are logs, what security monitoring was, and etc. like this. And so I had to really teach myself a lot of learning strategies of how to learn IT. And I guess that was really the start of how I learned to learn IT and how I started to incorporate those strategies into teaching cybersecurity. So I worked at the Australian Signals Director, was the Defence Signals Director back then, working in cyber operations. And so I'll just get rid of this. Excuse me. Working in defence cybersecurity operations. And so in that time, what I really learned was how to start to look at cybersecurity really like warfare. So in that time, I was also came through the Army Reserve, and I was doing Army Reserve officer training. And we really started to look at, how conventional military planning happens, and, attack and defense and different terrain analysis and all these sorts of things. And then while I was working in cyber at the same time in my day job, started to look at how we could start to look at cyber in terms of just another domain, which it is. It's classed as the fifth domain after land, sea, air, space, and then cyber. So I started to introduce those sort of practices, and really my own thinking started to mature around how we can do that. I left ASD in 2013 and worked in the private industry, consulting back into government. At that time, I then started reaching out to different universities about helping out in tutoring and starting to keep my technical skills current. And what I've then went on the journey of is to write some of the units at the Australian Defence Force Academy, the UNSW, in cyber operations. So I started writing courses and teaching courses in cybersecurity operations for ADFA and UNSW. Now, while I was doing that, I came up, like most innovators, I discovered a problem. There was no real way to teach large-scale cyber operations with the technologies that were available. If anyone's done cybersecurity training, obviously you potentially get given some VMs, and you download those VMs or install them locally or access them remotely on a server. What I found is that it was very hard for me. It would take me a whole day to set up a classroom to teach these courses. And so I started bootstrapping my own R&D into what would a platform look like, where someone could log in. You could define these environments with a template, and as soon as someone logs in, then they go out and it builds those environments for them. And there's no need to hand over VMs, to host VMs locally, for etc. like that. And that was really where the whole technology journey of Fifth Domain began. Over a number of years, the technology started to develop and mature through basically teaching and using that revenue essentially to then move into and then hire more developers and etc. like that. So the company was quite small, 2 or 3 people, a couple of developers, myself, just for a couple of years. What really happened in 2018 was that we were lucky enough to get a grant or a project fund from AusCyber. And that was about how do we scale our platform to teach cybersecurity operations within a couple of the TAFEs within Australia and the university sector. And so that's what we did. And that was great, because we were able to then, start to industrialize and pay back our technical debt and just make things a bit more robust, because if you're building tech out there, that it's just a rush to get features in front of users and get product in front of customers, that you're not, rightly so, you're not paying back all that technical debt and doing all this industrialization pieces, which will help you scale later on. So we were able to do a bit of that. Now, what we've done then is, and I'll go into a bit later, since then, we've worked into TAFEs, we've worked into the Defence Force, we've worked into other government departments, even universities internationally as well, to then start to grow out our platforms and service these customers. So essentially, what do we do? So we have 3 products, you could say, platform products, and this is all SaaS or PaaS as a service. So everything is in the clouds, and basically we set these up for customers, and then they go in there and browse them. It doesn't touch their infrastructure. So we have what we call 3 products, but really they are just modes of learning. So we have our learning labs, which is, and if we've got time, I'll do a demo of that later, around individual-based training. So individual go in there, it's like a learning management system. They go in there and they have all these environments, and they conduct all these training exercises. The second one is Cyber Rangers. So this is collective training. So essentially it's big networks, simulated attacks, people working together, teams, SOC teams, so security operations center teams, working together to solve these problems. And what we do, as well as we start to then collect, events and then sort of understand the behaviors of these operators. And then thirdly, we have the challenges. So the challenges is a capture the flag engine. It is a custom-made capture the flag engine, which has the ability to launch virtual machines for red team or boot to root style exercises. So boot to root is the machine boots up and you have to be able to access that machine, put down persistence and elevate your privileges on that machine to root level or administrator level. So that's what we do. Those are 3 modes of learning, and our customers usually come to us with one use case around either they want some individual learning or they want some challenges or they want a collective exercise, and we deliver that to them. And then they start to see what else we've got and they start to see how they can introduce a more holistic range of training for their teams. And so that's really the way that we go to market. A lot of people come in for CTFs, which is great, and then we can convert them across to Learning Labs or Cyber Range customers. So what have we done? Some of our key highlights over the years. So in 2020, we've worked a lot with the ADF and Defence Force around helping with them with their Women in Cyber programs, capture the flags, their cyber skills challenge, part of their activities. So they have for the Australian Defence Force, cyber has been recognised as an official sport, and so with that there needs to be activities, competitions, etc. like that. So we have been able to help them to be able to create the platforms, the online platforms, to be able to facilitate that kind of engagement between its several hundred participants. We're also involved with the ADF Cyber Gap program, which is several hundred people doing online training, work experience to then find jobs within the Australian Defence Force and wider defence. We've also been involved with TAFE Cyber, which is another AusCyber project around unifying the TAFEs and having a common set of learning materials in order to teach both the Certificate 4 in Cybersecurity and Advanced Diploma in Cybersecurity. We've also been involved, which was quite exciting, around the International Cybersecurity Centre of Excellence. And this is a capture the flag competition across 16 universities across the world, from the UK, US, Israel, Japan, Australia. And we run that twice a year for them. And that's using our capture the flag platform. And then we've also been able to help out with the Cyber Taipan, which is a US and Australia and Canada competition for school students. So being able to host their content within our Learning Labs platform. So that's really what we've done. I'll come back out of there now, so I'll stop sharing my screen. So that's what we've done so far, and where we're going now is just scaling out. Where we've been able to achieve success is through partnering with customers, rather than just producing a product and saying here's the software. Really co-designing, co-developing our platforms, our technologies and our capabilities to fit them. And the big part of our product development strategy is co-creation, where we take our existing product, make it fit for purpose for the new customer, and then take that R&D and integrate that back into the mainstream product offering. So that's really what we're about there. What I'd like to do now, if there's not any questions, I can set up a quick demo of Learning Labs.
Yeah, that will be great. Thank you, Matt.
Okay. So essentially, this is our Learning Labs platform, and this is just our demo environment. So this is used by TAFEs, university providers, and we even have some customers who are not cyber, teaching DevOps training on top of this. And really what it is that provides the ability for is people to define environments, snapshot, create little labs, big and small, to then put within a learning management system, create templates, and then whenever a student comes in, they just have to log into this here, and they press start, and it goes out and build those environments for that particular person. So this is our demo environment. As we see here, we'll go across to our demo labs, and essentially it's a learning management system. So in this here, we have the ability to host PDFs for instructions of what they need to do. We have the VMs. So this is where really what our core capabilities are, is about infrastructure orchestration. So one of the big problems of giving students, virtual machines, is it's slow, it's cumbersome, but you're also giving them your IP potentially. Here it's all locked away, so the only access they have to it is through the browser. Now, if you do this on the cloud, that's fine. You can create these environments and create scripts, etc. However, it's very difficult to administer or distribute these environments to your users. So what we've got here is the ability to have a set amount of time running. There's also, they can extend time as well, but then they can start these machines. Now, because I'm in a teacher account at the moment, we can also snapshot these machines. So if I'm a teacher and I'm creating these environments, I can press the snapshot, and then I can say, hey, do you want to replace the current virtual machine with a new snapshot, or to make it private? So what we found, what was really cool, is that we had an error in one of our labs, and we only discovered this after it had been deployed and we were teaching it to 60 people. We were able to make a change in one of these machines, snapshot it, and then make it part of the lab, and then students who already had these VMs deployed were able to press upgrade, and we'd push those changes to all those 60 students. Now, if anyone's had that, try to teach anything with virtual machines, if that had happened just using local VMs, then you would have had to copy that VM across to all of those people, and then this took about 15 minutes to fix. So what I do is, if I start all these machines are just starting here. While they're doing that, you can see we've also got quizzes, and we have here quizzes as well. And then basically what we can do is then take these quizzes, and then get all these results back to teachers, instructors, etc. So I'll just get out of here. So once this is active, essentially it's just like a VM. I can shut down, I can redeploy. So if I make an error with one of the machines, I can redeploy it to a known correct state. But essentially, this is what I do. Connect to Kali, and it's all just VDI over the browser. So I can go up here, click my applications, and then off I go. So this is a virtual machine. This particular one is connected to the internet. So essentially, it's all safe, it's all networked with other machines in the environment, and the students go through here, conduct their exercises, follow the quizzes, follow the guides, and complete the learning objective that way there. Now, that's essentially what we do. We also have, just for time's sakes, I won't go through it, but you can build these environments. You can build a course, you can build a lab, you can add VMware images, you can add quizzes and add surveys as well to this as well. So this is really what we describe as a cloud-enabled learning management system, to be able to teach and deliver VMs through a learning management system in the cloud at scale. So that's essentially what we do. I'll turn that off again now. Again, we do a lot of our challenges that we've come up against is managing the stack So we have a lot of touch points and a lot of technology from the cloud level, the infrastructure level, the platform level, the application level, the data level, and even the content level, which is what all the ranges and the VMs are. So really what we've done is through our maturity of our product over time is that, again, as I described, going to customers, asking them what they need and maturing different parts of that offering at a time. Because like any startup, you're limited on resources. You can't do everything at once. So you have to be able to choose, where you're going to focus development and R&D for the next month or quarter, for example. And that's really what we've done. And through bringing up different parts of the platform over time, we've been able to get our bootstrap, our platform to a certain level of maturity where now we are deploying globally. So that's sort of our story and where we're going, Chris. I'll take questions now.
No, thank you very much, Matt, and really great story. And I think especially a lot of startups can also learn a lot from this because it has been a challenge for a lot of startups, especially balancing between investment and customers. And I think that's a really good story. So the first question is, what would a customer need to use your capabilities?
So as a consumer of content, they just need to talk to us and we can provide them access to the platform. Now we are a B2B customer, so we, as you did see, we do a lot of white labeling. So we add logos, we add color schemes to make it look like, add URLs, so that as the B2B customer exposes the platform to their users, it looks like that customer's branding. So we do a little bit of work in the background to get that up and running. Other than that, it's the users just need to log in and then off they go.
Yeah, okay. And are there any typical course topics that customers run on this platform?
Yeah, so as we said, cybersecurity is what we use, is what we go to market for predominantly, just because you need VMs to be able to teach cybersecurity. You need to be able to have hands-on experiences to get that muscle memory. Additionally, it just works for general IT training. So if you had a series of virtual machines that you needed to push out to teach, software development or DevOps or something like that, that works. We also have a customer that does teach DevOps on this, and they teach it in the UK and the US as well, and we push the platform out to those areas, so it's close to the user, so there's not much latency there. So anything where a customer has to deploy virtual machines, essentially that's what this platform is. It's an orchestration platform, delivery platform for that.
Yeah, okay, great. And guys, please ask your question through the chat box, or you can raise a hand if you have any specific question. So Matt, given that it seems that you've got a lot of success in the federal sector, do you have any focus on any specific areas in the private sector as well?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know how many of your viewers are based in Canberra, but it's a government town, and so that's where we've started. That's where I've had my relationships, and that's where my staff, my senior management, have had their relationships as well. And that's how it works in Canberra. We are moving into more of the private sector, the banking sector, the state government level as well. Yeah. Essentially, anywhere where there's a cybersecurity operations center, where there's teams of people of doing the monitoring, managed security service providers that run SOCs and want to train and provide security operations as a service, want to train their staff. That is where we're moving into as well.
Okay, great. And for cyber as a support, does that involve defensive or offensive cyber operations, or both? Yeah,
so we teach things like pen testing on there. we sort of have an interesting model where we're really content agnostic, and we have a network of suppliers of let's say cyber training providers who are subject matter experts in that particular field, because cyber is so broad. You cannot be an expert in everything from intrusion analysis to forensics to incident response to malware reverse engineering to network countermeasures, etc., like that. So we basically find out what the customer wants, and then we reach out to suppliers, and they help, and then we curate that content to put it on our platform, so it can be used for everything.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And so, given that we normally target a lot of early adopters who might be listening to this webinar either live or later on as recorded webinar, so what kind of offering or interest that you will have to serve these early adopters?
Yeah, exactly. So we have worked with early adopters. Early adopters before. So again, also, so as from a customer perspective, we offer things like we can trials, capture the flags, small range activities, etc. So we have a taste or a trial ways of doing these things, just to see if it interests the type of way that people, because most technology and most of your customers as well, Chris, they would have disruptive technologies, and so what that means is it changes the way that people work, and that comes with a degree of change management. So we have to be able to start small if that organization isn't already accustomed or used to having that mode of activity or mode of working within their environment. So we do that. The other thing we do as well is we work with technology providers. So we have showcased and used other cybersecurity products from startups and presented them and used them within our scenarios and environments, all the way up to the Department of Defense. So it's a great opportunity it's a mission of mine is to showcase and elevate cyber tech from Australia into these big end customers. And so what we provide a range environments, and in those environments there's security software. Let's make that security software Australian cyber tech.
Excellent. So does that mean that basically other startups can also take advantage of your platform to educate and train a lot of other potential customers, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you're trainers and you want to distribute training to customers anywhere in the world on demand, we can do that. But yeah, also that if you want to get, if you've got a piece of tech and you think it's good for cybersecurity, then basically we can present that and almost become like a channel for those technology providers into bigger customers.
Okay. And in terms of your training or the users, do you have early learners or advanced users as well as part of these training programs?
Yeah, we have a full spectrum. So obviously the content sits on top of that. I mean, we train technical people. We're not training regular staff who need cybersecurity awareness. Cybersecurity awareness is a very specific thing and a very specific product within the industry. We train cyber operators, so people that are working in cybersecurity operation centers. So to do that, you do need a certain level of IT knowledge to start with.
Okay, excellent. So basically, you are more focused on subject matter experts, the people who are already working in cyberspace, and basically your platform becomes kind of a platform to train, but then also try other things, learn other things on top of trying new capabilities on the platform.
Yep, 100%.
Thank you very much, Matt, for your time today. Very nice to talk to you, and I'm sure that people will either reach out to you directly or they will reach out to Jeff or myself if they have any further questions. Thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thanks to everyone. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jeff.
Take care.